Hello my beautiful badgers, Messi Coda back again with another live dev interview, this time with more mountains, the creator of the top-down engine, Corgi engine, infinite runner engine, feedbacks, high road engine, nice vibrations, inventory engine, everything with an engine in it. This interview was taken on my order.twitch.tv/themessycoda back earlier in the year, and all of his stuff is currently on sale over on the Unity Asset Store, so sit back, enjoy, and I'll see you all in a moment. Everyone sitting at home in front of your Amazon mirrors, your Google Watches, your Alexas, and your fancy microwave PCs, give a warm and messy welcome to the one, the only, more mountains, the people behind Corgi, top-down engine, the high road, anything with engine at the end of it, more mountains make it. Welcome to the stream, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And you've been around for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, I guess I started at the end of 2014, I think.
Wow. Was Corgi the first one that you'd done?
Yeah, that was the first one. It started as a training, really. I was learning Unity and ended up with like a platformer, but not really a game. It was more like bricks of a game, and it was clear to me that I wouldn't have time to finish it and make it a game and publish it. So I was like, well, there's this thing, there's the asset store. I'm going to try to see if that's of interest to anyone.
Get some money coming in.
And yeah, actually, I wanted to buy Far Cry 4 at the time. It just came out. And I was like, well, if I sell like 3 of these, then I can buy this game. It became a bit bigger than that. And so I had to like actually work on it to make it much better than what the initial version was, which was it was small, it was buggy, it was imperfect, and I think I pushed the 54th update to it like a month ago.
So it was. I love the fact that you started it so that you could buy a computer game.
Yeah, and now I work at Ubisoft. I don't buy these games anymore.
Oh, you work at Ubisoft now?
Yeah.
Oh my word! How did you go from trying to buy a game and selling a little kit to actually working at the AAA studio?
It's a long journey. I don't think the two are related, really. I started with computing. I learned computing in school and in early 2000s, and then I did websites for a while. Then I moved on to Flash games for a few years. Then Flash died. I moved on to apps. Started doing more focused work on UX, user experience, and I worked for NGOs. I worked for newspaper companies. Startups, a lot of them, brands like IKEA, and on the side, I've always had, like, as far as I can remember, I've always had like 2 or 3 jobs at once. So on the side, I was doing illustration work, art direction, and animation, and so at some point I was like, well, I'm doing product design, I'm doing illustration, I'm doing code. I should probably do video games again. Because it was like the perfect combination of all these skills. And I started doing some freelancing, went back to Unity. That's when the Corgi engine happened. Then I started working for some studios, moved to Canada to get more opportunities, really, and enjoy the snow. And now I'm UX director on an unannounced project at Ubisoft. I've been there for 2 years.
Oh well, congratulations, buddy. And I love that you moved there to enjoy the snow as well. So, I mean, are you using their own custom? Obviously, because they've got their own engines as well.
They do, yeah.
So
I can't really talk much about Ubisoft because of NDAs.
Yeah, NDAs and all that stuff. We don't want to get you in trouble. But do you get to do anything in outside of, forget Ubisoft, but like
Mm.
Unreal as well, or is it just
So
Unity that?
let's say for the studios I've worked with, or for, and so I'm not going to mention Ubisoft again, so I don't get in trouble
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
You know it is. But what I focus on is user experience, and not just most people, even at studios, they think that UX is sort of UI, so the menus, the options, and stuff. I focus on user experience for gameplay, and the way I do that is I create prototypes, playable prototypes, usually really quick, usually with Unity, but not necessarily. And uh, and so I take ideas, mine or from other designers, and I put that in the hands of players so we can get data, actual data. And so it's not just like a game design document; it's something that is actually playable. Um, I'm fortunate to work with people that have a mindset that works for that kind of exercise, which is quite uncommon in the industry where people are very specialized. They tend to be, like riggers, and um, they are texture artists. But my team and I, we do everything, bit of everything at least, and so that gives us more autonomy and the freedom to do things faster because we don't depend on an entire production pipeline. Um, so yeah, prototypes and gameplay prototypes, focusing on game feel, focusing on the experience and what makes whatever the game is about unique.
Does that mean that you don't get to normally have that level, that detail of coding that you're able to enjoy in your assets? So I'm actually making these assets is a bit like a holiday away from what you're doing at work.
That's absolutely what it is. Yeah, the prototypes I do, they tend to be, I would say, robust, more robust than what most people think when they think of prototypes, but because we need to be able to iterate on them, so the basis has to be a bit solid. But clearly the level of polish and the level of iteration is not the same as the one I have on my Unity assets.
I would love to see Corgi on something. I don't know. I don't look at the Unreal, but is Corgi and top down going over to Unreal? That you'll be.
It's a possibility.
Oh, nice.
Considering the current state of Unity and the direction it's taking, it's possible that it will expand to
Because
new horizons.
the one thing that puts me off over to Unreal is needing to learn the like a whole new interface and system and
Yeah,
language and everything. And you know what? It's lazy of me, and I know it's lazy. But if I was actually using an asset like Top Down Engine or Corgi, and the interface of that asset doesn't change that much across a different engine, I would actually probably be like, oh well, you Unreal might be different, but I know how to use the top-down engine, so I'll be fine.
yeah, that'd be ideal. I've started playing with it. More than playing with it, I've worked with it. I think it's a wonderful tool. I still think that Unity is more accessible, and I'm curious to see how it will evolve.
I mean, there's always going to be it's always going to be easier to do C sharp than it is going to be doing C++. I mean, it
Absolutely.
goes without
Yeah.
saying. Um, the whole change of visual scripting now becoming natively part inside of Unity, and they picked up Bolt, also makes Unity start to compete with Unreal on that whole blueprinting and visual scripting stuff that they're doing. So it kind of feels like if Unity do it properly, they could have the edge. Maybe not. It's not in the graphics they won't, but at least in they'll maintain that usability edge.
I think they had it for a long while, and then what I loved when I started using it was that it was sort of reliable, and I was looking forward to each new update. And,
That
and that
didn't
changed
last
a bit.
long, did it?
It lasted for like 2 years at least, and then URP happened, LWRP, URP, and now I haven't listened to it yet, but I saw that you had Jason Booth on the show earlier this week.
I've had him about. I think he's been on 4 times now.
Okay, well, so you've heard people complain about URP before.
And I think the first time that he came on to talk about the whole Shade of Ender pipeline, he actually explained that he went to talk to Unity. Basically, they even invited him to give his thoughts and feedback and help and suggestions when they were planning it. And basically, all of the suggestions and advice and that he told them and pleaded with them to follow, they didn't listen. They called them. So we kind of like, why ask a specialist? Why go to the doctor to ask what's wrong if when he tells you what's wrong, you go, well, I don't believe you. You know what? I think I think I'm pregnant. Well, you're a man, first of all, and I don't think you're pregnant. Well, I think you're wrong, and I think I am. So there. And out of the two of us, I'm the customer, so I'm right. Like kind of like what it feels. So yeah. The good thing with you is you don't have to worry about render pipelines with
thankfully, I don't. Not too much. I still get a lot of questions, support questions about it, because it's like the Corgi engine, the top-down engine, all the others, they're relatively big in scope, and for some people it's hard to know where they stop and when Unity starts, and when a bug is on one side or the other, and URP makes things confusing for newcomers more than before, and so I've learned quite a few of its recurring bugs and stuff, so I can help people. Even if really most of my assets, they don't do any rendering. There are some shaders here and there, stuff like that.
You're still trying to help. Don't help people. They don't deserve it. Oh.
It's the thing is, if I don't, they will just get stuck, because it's hard to find that info. And Unity presents these things these days as production ready.
Yeah.
I think they are. That's my main concern with it. It's like, if it was experimental and they were clearly saying, well, this is not finished, this is for you to have fun and see where things will be in a year or 2 or 3 or more, that would be fine. That would be nice.
It'd be more forgivable, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and then I mean, that's how software gets made. It's messy at the start.
It's managing the expectations.
Yeah, the thing is, newcomers, they see URP being mentioned in keynotes and everywhere. So of course they jump on it. And you want to be on the last cool thing, the last shiny bit of tech. That's unrealistic.
Well, the thing is, when they used to say that the LWP, whatever it's called, was ready, but HDRP wasn't. And now they're saying that both URP and HDRP are out of experimental and are ready to be used. Then people are thinking, oh, all right, then it is ready to use. So that's good.
But you want to believe the people that made the thing, right?
Well, I think a lot of times you'll find they're not even Unity able to use their own assets. Yeah. I did a silly thing now. I imported Corgi and the top-down engine in the same project.
That was a mistake.
That was a mistake. But does that mean if I wanted to have a game that had one level top-down and another level side-scrolly platformer, I wouldn't be able to use both kits together?
No, you would, but it would take a bit of refactor. The main reason for that is that both assets, they use the same helper libraries. So MM tools, MM feedbacks, some others, stuff that sort of math functions, helpers of all sorts, and the asset store doesn't make it really easy for me to keep these versions in sync.
Okay.
So when I push an update of the Corgi engine, I have to include these libraries. When I push an update of the top down, I also have to include them, and I don't do that in sync. I don't push like 20 updates at once. There's no process really.
You wouldn't be able to have that as a separate asset.
It would make it extremely in the current state of the asset store. It would make it very hard for people to just even so it's doable to have both in the same project. Some people have done so. It's just that you have to like remove one of the libraries to keep just one instance of it, and some things may break. Like functions have been renamed, stuff like that. So I would say it's maybe 30 minutes, 1 hour of work if you know what you're doing.
Oh, then it gives hope for me to do it. Yon in chat says, "I wish Unity would make live."
It's just tedious.
It is. It says, "I wish they would make library assets easier. It seems like they're moving in that direction with 2020.x package manager." Speaking of, how does one get onto your Etonics? You can grab hold of them in the Discord. So I'm re-importing now. So bear with me one moment. And you know what? I've completely forgot that when you and I were chatting earlier, you had the super cool camera special effects.
I do,
and your wonderful face.
Is it working?
Do you want to try and turn it? Let's see.
I did turn it on.
Yeah, I think I get a yellow background with your little ghost head. Here we go. Now
I should be. I see myself in Discord.
Cool. Let me add the pop out on the. There you go. There he is, everyone.
Hi.
So you're not originally from Canada, you're saying?
No, I'm French.
I was going to say from the accent I could tell you were Italian.
Yeah.
So does it when you move to Canada, do they give like special treatment to the French people moving over?
They don't really like them, so I guess no special treatment.
They don't like you.
But they like. I think like most countries, they prefer the people that were born in the country. But it's not racism. It's just good fun.
Yeah, but I would have thought it would be different with the Canadians. That see, in my mind, I always felt like if Canada was getting people immigrating from their motherland countries, then it's like a poke in the eye to go, haha, France, they prefer to live in Canada than they do with you.
That's what it is. I guess it's easier to come from France than it is to come from other countries. It hasn't been hard at all for me. And the fact that I'm in Montreal, which is part of Quebec, which is French speaking, makes it easier because I can speak both English and French. So.
Do they have like the local foods that you would have had back home in France as well? Or is it like a completely different cuisine?
It's more diverse here. You get food from, especially in Montreal, you get food from everywhere. If you really want actual food from France, it's going to be expensive. But I don't really miss it. So I like having the opportunity to eat food from Haiti, from the US, from Canada itself. I eat Ethiopian, all sorts of really varied food that you wouldn't find necessarily in France, outside of Paris at least.
And Canada's got this a big influx of game studios, game developers. Yeah. Would you recommend as a choice? I had a friend of mine, a British guy, who was going to go to Canada to work. He's a 3D artist, and he missed out right at the last second, so he didn't manage to get to go. He was kicking himself, and he was basically saying to me, "It's going to be a dream come true, living in Canada." Does it feel like that? Do you recommend it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I feel like it's one of my best ideas. And I postponed it for a while, and I wish I had done it sooner. especially for games in Montreal, but so in Vancouver. There's not really anything in between, anyways, mostly for us. But if you're either in Montreal or Quebec or Vancouver, there are so many game studios. I think it's like 300 just in Montreal.
Wow, that's insane.
And you get giant studios, at least in terms of amount of people, like Ubisoft. But you also get indie ones that are way smaller, and so you get a choice to do pretty much everything you may be able to do in video games. And so people, they frequently move from one studio to the other. You end up knowing people at many places, so it makes it easier to move from one to the other. Very interesting scene.
Wow. So you, I mean, how did you even get started? Did you just send your CV off to Ubisoft one day and then move country?
No, I worked for a few other studios before Ubisoft.
Wait, in Canada?
In Canada, yeah. Just word of mouth, I guess. I was doing random stuff for some studios. I was putting some work on Twitter. That's it. I back from my illustration days. I knew a lot of people that started learning how to draw digitally in the early 2000s alongside me, and kept contact with these people, and they ended up being the art directors of Assassin's Creed, of Far Cry, of Doom, games that everybody knows now. And so with these contacts, it was easier to sort of get connected.
But you don't need to have you don't need to have the super contacts, I suppose.
No. It's like, Ubisoft, for example, hires like, I don't know, 50 people a week. So and in Canada, they're always looking for new talent. So even without any contacts, it's quite doable. It just made it easier for me, I guess.
Fresh Meat, who's another Canadian in chat, says, "Salut. Like I said before, our government gives grants and such for game devs and most of the like. You just have to do your homework."
Yeah, I think the tax cuts that Quebec and I think just the whole of Canada did a few years back, or more than that now, 2 decades back, was a brilliant idea, because it created this scene, and so it attracts talents. It provides opportunities for people growing up here, and just maybe I'll create my own studio soon. So that's just contributes to more and more people coming here, doing games here. So it's a really good idea.
So when you create your studio, drop us in the Discord and we'll get our CVs sent over.
All right, we'll do.
For Chris says, I realise the border is closed right now, but I've been curious at times how hard it would be for an indie to move from the US to Canada. Author Chris, I'm sorry, Americans aren't allowed in Canada. There's a wall that got built now.
Yeah, it's a big giant ice wall.
Big giant wall, unfortunately. Well, I do actually know that quite a few people have been try to move over. There was some Twitch streamers that tried to move over. Like one Canadian, American, married to American, couldn't even get his American wife over to get her visa. Had a visa, but was expired. Loads of places. It's like harder for Americans to get into Canada than it is for Europeans. Or maybe just because I'm British and you're French, it's easier for us. But I've never thought how difficult it is for other people to get in.
I wouldn't know the details, but I work with quite a few Americans that live in Canada, and seems I don't know if it's harder. Maybe it is.
I suppose it's if you've got a job lined up That's the massive difference.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
That's sort of the condition. It's way harder to come here if you don't have a job. Usually, you get a job that gives you a work permit, and then you can come.
So, author Chris in chat, just wait for the More Mountain studio to be founded in Canada. Send your CV off, and when you get a job, then you can get your visa sorted out. That sounds like a plan, doesn't it?
That's how it works.
I've re-imported now the Corgi engine in one project. I've got another project loading up with the top-down engine. So I've separated them. I've used my common sense this time. So we're going to go into, and actually I've got about 5 different versions of Unity open. Which one? Quit. Here we go. Quit that one. And is it going to work? Or has my computer frozen? That's the other nice thing about Unity. You can have multiple versions of Unity working at the same time, and most times it doesn't explode.
Yeah.
Except if you're streaming. If you're live, then it goes to buggery. So let me try that again, and I will change that. Oh, I got a big Unity editor. I got that big black square with the red exclamation mark. Everyone loves that sign. You know the one I mean. The one that says, "Did you save your work recently?" No? Well, that was silly, wasn't it? Okay, so here we go. Go straight into the Corgi one. So do you know what? I'm the best customer you've ever. I am the customers that you dream of having, because I purchased Corgi how many years ago? Fair few years ago, in a sale. I've never used it until today. Therefore, you've not had to worry about any customer support from me whatsoever. So
that's nice.
Exactly. I mean, you can't ask for better, can you?
No, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Should I be able to see your screen right
Yeah,
now?
I'm just sharing now. How do Canadians feel about large black Irishmen? Well, are you going to go live with Fresh Meat now, Facebiter? I'm not sure you get a visa just going to say you're going to live with him. You need to have a job. You need to have
It's easier with a job. I think you can still get in without one, but like having a job makes it easier.
Although being Irish might make it a bit more difficult.
No, we got Irish.
Although more people are going to Ireland for the tax than they are actually leaving. Let's see if you can see my screen now. So go back, share the screens rather than the oh dear, I nearly swore in French. Are you going to teach me a good swear word in French that doesn't? It's not too rude.
You only need one. You need putain. That's the only one.
Oh, doesn't that?
You just use that pretty much everywhere in your sentence, and it works.
Is that? But hang on, doesn't that mean like Lady of the Night?
It does, but it's not really used in that way. It's more punctuation.
What a beautiful language the French
It is.
It is. All right, so here I am inside the Corgi game editor engine for Unity. There you go, it's my French. So you've got Corgi 2D and Corgi 3. I thought Corgi was only 2D and 2 plus 5D.
That's what it is. It's 2D gameplay, but considering it's Unity, you can have your visuals be anything you want, really. You can use sprites, you can use 3D models, you can use spine, claxels, anything. So
we had claxels on the stream the other day. Did you see the stream where I interviewed Andrea?
No, I've added quite a few to my watch list, but haven't found the time to, or taken the time to.
Well, do you know what the lucky thing is? If you watch the VODs, you can always, if you miss it live, you can watch the VOD, or you can do !YouTube in chat and watch it on the YouTube channel, and eventually they get uploaded onto YouTube. The nice thing about the YouTube one is that you can write a comment. So you can click like on a YouTube video, everyone, if you didn't know that by now. And you can also click on the little bell. You can click on that subscribe thing. And you can also put a comment in, like my son says. You know, don't forget to talk to us. My son today did his first YouTube video.
Oh,
He reviewed. Oh my god, that's loud. He reviewed an asset on the for dinosaurs on the asset store, and I think he did really well.
nice.
Open mixer. Right, how do I put the blinking volume down?
You could always just mute the audio. It's
Oh yeah, if I mute the audio, that would work. Do you know what? I went for ages going, my sound is broken in Unity. My sound is broken in Unity, and it took people in the stream said you've clicked mute audio, and I was like, oh my god, did I? I didn't realize. So what? This is like a. What was that game?
so
on
this
the
this is a
arcade?
multiplayer demo. Would be suitable for games like Towerfall, things like that.
There was a game I had on the Amiga that was like this. I can't remember its name for the like for Love Nor Money. What was it? You know what? It's going to come to me later. Where was the? You got them like a Mario ripoff as well.
Yeah, I would recommend. I don't know, the new Corgi 3D, for
That's it.
example.
Where is it? There it is. New
Yeah,
Corgi 3.
right.
This is the one I was
Yeah.
playing earlier, and I was addicted to this one. It's just how easy is it? Look, let's be honest. I'm an idiot, as everyone knows by now who's watching this. How easy it is for me to make a game with this?
Fairly easy, I would say. It's the cool thing I think with these assets, and it's the same design philosophy between, Corgi and Top Down and Infinite Runner and all the other ones. There's only one more, but make it sound like there's a video. The design philosophy behind that is I'm trying to provide something that is usable by newcomers to Unity, but that doesn't try to hide away the reality of what it means to create a game with Unity. So it's done in a way and with code that you would find in production.
Oh, nice.
What I hope is good code. And so if you're very new and you just want to create your first game, maybe you're a kid and you don't know how to code, you will be able to do some stuff. You'll be able to use some of the classes that are there, and just by reskinning what exists, assembling parts, you'll be able to have fun. You'll create your own character, own levels, have fun with level design. And if you want to go further, you also can. Like if you know how to code, you can create your own classes that extend the engine, that build on top of it. You can bring other assets, dialogue systems, stuff like that.
Oh,
And
lost you for a second. Tell you what, maybe if you disable your camera, you might save some bandwidth.
Yeah, I've found it a bit hackish since I turned it on. I think it's good now.
Okay, cool. So I mean, is it? I'm completely ignorant, having known this for years and only now using it. Is it visual? What is it? Visual scripting thing? Is it just a load of plugins?
It's no visual scripting at all. I mean, technically, you could use Playmaker or Bolt with it. Some people do. I'm not a big fan of visual scripting. That's why I try to provide people with something that is closer to what you would find in an actual game production. So it's just classes, components, and you combine them, and that lets you create characters and stuff. If you want to create a character, I can explain how it's done. So maybe one of the first things you can do is go into the minimal folder.
Where's that?
In demos.
Demos, minimal.
All right, and if you scroll down, you'll find something called minimal level.
Minimal level. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Duplicate that.
So, do
Control
you know,
D.
I'll make another folder and I'll stick it
Yeah.
again. Have you got like videos on YouTube explaining how to do all this, or do I have to
Oh
read
yeah.
manual?
Yeah. There's a manual, like a website that explains it all, and then there are videos, tutorials for each and every feature.
Oh, brilliant.
So it's like for the Corgi engine, it's I don't know 20 hours of videos if you really
Oh,
want to
wow.
watch it. But the cool thing is it's separated by theme. So some people will be interested in making advanced characters, in making AI, in making weapons, making advanced levels. So you can have zip lines, you can have teleporters, all sorts of stuff. So it's a lot of different features, and most people won't use them all. You rarely, I mean, I wouldn't recommend creating a game that has all of these features. It just doesn't make any sense. But so you can just go to the section that interests you at the time and move on from there. So this is the minimal level. As you can see, it's not a super interesting level, but it's a good starting point if you want to create your own level and if you want to have fun with a character, because it's basically a sandbox. Let's say you want to create your own character. If you exit play mode, I would suggest setting your scene view in 2D. It's gonna avoid weird z-axis things. All right. So the first thing you're gonna need is an empty game object. So if you go, yeah.
Should I download a model from the asset store, or?
You could, or otherwise there are sprites, for example, that you can use in the asset.
You know what? I'm gonna download one quickly.
All right.
Which,
if you have one with animations, we could probably set up something.
yeah, they've got little animes. You know what? People in chat are getting excited with Corgi. We got Yonan saying that he'd basically been looking at it for a while, hadn't picked it up, and was maybe a little bit. How did you word it, Yonan? Where was it about Bolt? Where's it gone? I'm a little bit ambitious for something built with Bolt. I
mean, it's built with Bolt.
So is this something that if somebody is a developer, would they be like, this is too simple for me?
The Corgi engine, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, depends on the people, I guess, but it's not like visual scripting. It's like there are actual games on the App Store, on Switch, on Steam, made with it. I would say it's a professional tool.
Yonan was saying he was talking about his current plans with his daughter to build a side scroller with Bolt. Well, in that case, let's go to flip that question the other way. I want my kids to learn to make some little games with me.
It would work, I suppose. It really depends on your ambition. If, for example, I do have a kid. I've got a 5-year-old, and
congratulations.
Thank you.
The fact that you're able to work on Corgi and all these other kids, and a day job, and a 5-year-old, that's amazing.
And they're both the same age. So, that makes it even weirder. Yeah, with a 5-year-old, for example, let's say maybe a 7-year-old, because that's maybe a bit too soon. But if you want them to actually interact with Unity, but young kid doesn't know how to program, you should be able to have fun with level design, for example, assembling props, assembling platforms, and creating something that tells a bit of a story. That's doable. And then once the person starts knowing how to code, you can really expand. Yeah.
Well, I've got I've got a 5-year-old and a 7, so I'm gonna try with both of them and see. and see what happens. It's gonna be fun. Well, I've got a little hamster. This little hamster man.
All right.
Uh,
Maybe you can center it in the scene view. Yeah, I think that level is a bit offset. Just zoom out and move it inside the.
God, he's very small, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he's a hamster after.
I think
Sure.
you've got a good size. Yeah, and right here, and now zoom back in. All right. So create an empty game object.
Yep, here it is.
All right.
Shall I put it in the same position as the blokey?
What you want to do is now put the hamster inside the game object. Yeah.
Okay. I'll
like
reset
that.
it.
Reset it. Perfect.
And I
And
should have kept the position.
It's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, with the 3D model, it's going to be a bit trickier, but we should get that. First thing you want to do is put your hamster in the right facing direction. So your hamster should be facing right.
Do I rotate the hamster or the skeleton?
Yeah. Maybe create another game object between the two, and that's going to be on the container. You can rename that. No.
Oh,
sorry. This one stays at 0, and you put the hamster inside it. All right. So now the top level, you're going to rename that to, I don't know, character. All right. Then the game object that is below it, you're going to rename it to model container. And we're good. Then you select the hamster and rotate it on its y-axis, I suppose, 90 degrees. I would say 90. Perfect. Now you select the character node.
Oui.
And click Add Component.
Oui.
And you type character. This one. Click on it.
C'est magnifique.
It is, right? Excellent accent, by the way.
Thank you.
And you can now click on, at the bottom of its inspector, you can click on Auto Build Player Character.
Oh.
So
I love a button with the words auto in it.
Yeah, right. It's a bit magical, but it works. And now if you press play, technically, you've got a character that moves. So you can use your same keys. If you move, all right. And I would say it's done.
Shall I delete the original?
A bit better. So now it's going to be a matter of tweaking. The first thing you can do, so we're going to get rid of the rectangle. So you just have the hamster. So the way it works, it's the level manager. It's one of the objects in your scene.
There he is.
Yeah. So the level manager is responsible for what happens in the level. It's responsible for spawning the characters. So by default, usually I would recommend having your characters be instantiated in the scene. Right now you've got yours in the scene, that's fine as well. So we're going to make a bit of a change. At the top of its inspector, you'll see instantiate characters. There's on the right, it says player prefabs.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Set it to 0.
Oh, I was going to drag in the other guy. Okay, I set it to 0, yeah.
That's the next step. Go back to the level manager.
0.
Yeah. 0. All right. And then like just below it, you can see characters already in the scene. So this one you set to 1.
Oh,
and you can see the hamster. All right. Now if you press play again, to be sure, you should see just your hamster.
So it's got that bounding box still on him. That is.
Yeah. So now we're going to fix that because as you can see, it's not very good. So if you select the character again.
Yep. I can see that little square.
Yeah. So fold the character component, or just scroll to the but it's perfect. So now we have our box collider. So we're going to make it maybe 0.5 in width. This one, 0.5. excellent. And height, I would say 0.75 maybe. All right.
Do we offset
Now,
it?
no.
No? Okay.
Risky.
Risky. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be easier if we just move the model. So we can move the model container. In this case, I would say.
Shall I lock that view then? And then, oh no, it's not.
No,
if you look here, it still says it. No.
The way I do it, maybe there's a clever version of it, but I would zoom in a bit. Exactly. Yeah, you align it with the ground.
Yeah.
And then you move your container like that.
I like that. You're already starting to see I'm a professional.
And select the character again. Not bad. Maybe you can move it a bit to the left, because this is a 2D side scroller, right? So if what you really want is to make sure that your character is centered vertically, because when you're going to switch directions, you're going to flip or you're going to rotate your model. But if your character is offset, well, you're not going to rotate in place. You're going to be offset. So yeah, now you have a character that is, if you press play again, you're going to at least collide with the walls correctly and collide with the ground. Excellent. Now you can see that if you move left,
it doesn't turn around, does it?
It doesn't. So we're going to fix that. Now, if you select your, unfold the character component at the top here, somewhere it says character model. Yes.
Yeah,
past it. Yeah, this one. So you're going to drag the model container into that. Excellent. And it's a bit hard for me to read.
Do I need a target?
No, don't worry about it. Just somewhere it should say flip model. Yeah, rotate. Okay, so a bit lower. It says flip model in direction. So we don't want that. We're going to rotate it because it's a 3D model. It's better.
Okay.
Exactly. So it should be fine. And the model rotation speed, maybe you can set it to 10. Completely random value. I'm not sure which one is going to look good.
Let's click play and see what happens.
All right, now to the left. See, that's progress. I would say maybe one of the things we could do is add a light into that scene. We went with or you make it a prefab and you use it in the new Corgi 3D demo scene, for example.
Ooh.
Up to you. Would probably be easier to get your hamster looking good quicker. So in your messy folder, you just drag your character.
Here he is.
There you go. Now if you
I'm a hamster.
If you open or duplicate the go into demos, Corgi 3D. This one, duplicate new Corgi 3D at the bottom. And, just move it. All right, open it. Well, you can save. And we're going to do the same thing, go to the level manager.
And now if I just drag him in there?
Absolutely. And this time the level manager is going to instantiate it at the start position, so it's all handled for you.
There he is.
And I would say, if you've got a kid, a young one that just wants to make their first game, boom, you're done.
And the thing is, I interviewed Code Respawn, who makes Dungeon Architect, and he has a demo for how you create like a Mario level using Dungeon Architect. So you could just procedurally generate levels, and then just have your character in Corgi going around and you spawn the enemy AI, and the way you go. So how do I put my animations from?
All right.
So
let's.
Well, first things, it should have animations. Here they are. Okay.
Okay.
So I've got action animations, idle animations, movement animations. So that's the one we want to move.
We probably want walk, and let's say we can set up idle and walk. So let's open your prefab, the one you created.
Yeah.
Yeah. Open the prefab at the top.
So you've already got a an animation controller I can just copy and then or make a
we can create one. It's
an override.
You could do an override, yes. Just wondering what it will do to the skeleton of this one.
He's Mechanim.
Okay.
He doesn't look it because he's a fat little hamster.
Select the hamster then. Yeah, this one. All right. So let me just. I'm gonna find you the name of one good controller. It's gonna take a sec. We're gonna try and reuse the one from the.
While you do that, I've got to check. I keep forgetting that chat exists.
You can look for the new Corgi 3D animator controller.
New Corgi, I found it. That was easy.
All right. And then you can drag your walk and idle, at least, see if it works. Not how I do things usually, so I'm curious to see it.
And you know what? I'm going to add in as an idle. He's also got a jump animation. You've got a fall. He's got a fall.
Yeah, would be the fall.
He's got a jump. You've got
the way it works is usually I use blend trees, or that's what I would recommend. So it's not really like these are demo animator controllers. Not necessarily something I would recommend people to just override. Instead, it's best to probably tailor something for your character, but I suppose it will work.
It's fine, don't worry. What's the jump that you use for jump?
On this one, let me check.
Wobbly.
I guess it would be falling, but then there's like a blend tree that looks at the direction of the fall, and if it's moving up, it would be jump.
Oh, this guy's got a he's got throw and pick up. He has loads of stuff. Right, this guy's even got running. Okay, let's try this then. So he's all right. He's not auto save, so I got to, you know what? You'll be all right. Where's the blinking save? When they don't have, oh, there it is. This new UI being dark. It's wonderful, isn't it? I thought Corgi was a dog. Well,
it is a dog.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to actually put the animation on the actual prefab. So that always helps, doesn't it? So if I
that would be one level below, so you'll have to open the prefab.
That's my hamster, and here we go.
And don't exit yet. You want to bind that animator to your character so that the character knows what animator or animators to update. So it's right there. Yeah.
There you go.
Now you save that.
So it's quite intuitive.
Trying. I'm a UX designer.
Oh wow! Look at that. Ooh, that was that rotate.
You may have root motion enabled.
So let's go back to those anims. So you got to turn off root motion.
Yeah. Because it's just bad. I don't know. I don't believe in it. So.
Is it on each individual clip? Editing each individual clip? Where's the root motion? Baked into pose.
I don't even remember where you turn it off now.
From hierarchy.
Or maybe from the animator itself. If you select the
so where's my messy override? And
no. Select the character. Yeah, open it. Select the hamster. And
Apply root
uncheck
motion.
the
There
flag.
it is. Well done, Hiko6. You beautiful little badger. When you're never using root motion, it's so easy to forget of how you actually turn it on. Here he is.
Yay!
Now
Nice.
he's looking better.
Try jumping. Okay, that's
That's a new one, isn't it?
yeah. Okay, interesting.
When you don't have an animation on the climb.
Could be that.
So
I wonder why he changed this.
Messi made his first game this year. Hooray! Actually, my first game was the space asteroids breaking. Asteroid smash, we call it. You know what? Let's hamster.
Ladder animation is a bit can get a bit tricky, but it usually doesn't get that bad.
Climbing ladder.
Yeah.
And let's poo sticks. Clicked on the wrong bloody one. There he is. Animations. Let's just put carry on there. Crouch, that'll do. Death, falling, flying, hit, idle, land, look over his shoulder, pushing things. No, we're good. All right. So let's click play again. Oh, this is exciting. This is exciting. All right. So now, there he is.
That's better. So I probably know how to fix it from there. So if you exit play mode, select the hamster prefab.
Are you my little hamster? Okay.
All right. And if you scroll down, so in your inspector, you'll see that we have a bunch of components. So the Corgi controller is what handles the collisions and stuff. The character is what defines your character. Is it an AI or what? Handles the bindings. And then we have abilities, like moving horizontally or crouching or using a jetpack.
Each of those is its own script.
Yes. And so that's one of the core design pillars of the engine, is that a character is made of a few core classes that handle, health and stuff, and then you have abilities, and you can have as many as you want, combine them, and you can create new ones, of course. So one of them is ladder climbing. Ladder. There you go. So force right facing, you want to check that and hope for the best.
Well, I just saw you've got jetpack.
Yeah, there's a jetpack. So if you, by default, your character can jetpack. So if you save,
can I turn that on? How do I turn that on by default?
It's already on. It's already on. You just have to use it. I'll show you how. If you press. So if you press the 2 on your keyboard, just above the you're jetpacking. Technically, you're jetpacking, and now you would need like a particle system to make it look a bit better. We can go over that.
I've run out of jetpack juice, haven't I?
Yeah, you have to wait, and you can see in the top left corner, you can see the the bar refilling.
Oh, my force horizontal didn't.
Yeah, it's just that your animation of the ladder should be facing the left. Yeah, the ladder. So it's just a matter of having a proper ladder climbing animation, or editing the one you have to get that. But yeah, basically you now have a character, and the cool thing is right now you've just edited the or overridden the existing animator controller. But if you
it's great, isn't it?
It's really good. I like that the idol is it's wiggling like
Well,
that. So if you
the other way of doing it. If I just go back to that, right? So that's selected, and I go. So where was that? Where does that live? It lives in New Corgi 3D. Right. So because I'm being silly, you could just do this way and go New Corgi 3D. And where the heck were you? New
what you're
Corgi
looking
3D. Could just do that instead.
I'm not sure what this will do.
No, okay. I was gonna go.
I
You
don't,
know
I
what?
don't think that's how it works.
No. Never mind. Try to see if I could just chuck him in and get away with it. Never mind. That didn't work. Try to be too clever. But that's bizarre. But that's using that's using a demo. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely. And if you double click on the hamster animator controller, yeah, like this one. If you open it, yeah, perfect. So this is just one example of how you can build your animator. Some people will prefer using substates and blend trees, and they would be right. But the cool thing is the engine is not opinionated in that manner. So it's purely standard mechanism. And if you click on parameters on the left of your animator, there you go. You can see that it exposes quite a lot of things, and this animator only has like half of it. So you'll get all sorts of speeds and all sorts of states that you can then use in your transitions to create basically anything you want. So you can have basic animation like you just did. No offense to the hamster, or you can get pretty complex if you want.
so I was gonna how does the controller know? So it's basically I need to trigger these regardless of what I have.
Each ability is responsible for updating its animation parameter or animation parameters. Some of them have more than one. So depending on how many abilities you use and which ones, you'll have more or less parameters that get updated. And then for stuff like weapons, it gets more complex, but it's basically the same idea. You get parameters that will reflect the state that your character or weapon is in. So when you're walking is going to be true. When you're jetpacking is going to be true. It's a state machine.
So I only really need to care about supporting these conditions here, these parameters in the conditions.
Yep.
I don't have to worry about generating any logic inside the components to say, okay, I've got a new animation you want to call.
Really depends on what you're trying to do, but most of the time it's going to be from walking you can run, so you're going to have a transition from walking to run that says running is true, walking is false. And it's very open. Like I've seen people do crazy things with that, and I've also seen people do extremely simple things with that. So I think that's nice when it caters to everyone. And there's also an auto setup for animation parameters. If you're creating your own animator, you can just add a class to it, and boom, just like the character creation, it generates all the parameters. So you don't have to tag them all, which is not fun.
This is a lot more simple. I don't know. I'm going to say it's a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be, but I've just.
It's a lot simpler than it used to.
Oh, really? Because this is pretty much Hello World in the Corgi land, isn't it? It is opening up the demo and having a go. But I mean, give me an example of a complex demo that you've got.
Go to the retro folder.
Yep.
Retro AI, the first one.
Retro AI. Do not save.
Press play.
That reminds me of New Zealand Story.
So this one is a demo of AI behaviors. So it's not a game. It doesn't make any sense in terms of level design, but you'll find all sorts of weird AI. So this guy, for example, gets angry when you're too close and tries to hit you with a sword. And if you get close enough, it will. If you press T, there you go. So now you've also got a machine gun. So if you press E, you can now shoot. I'm assuming you're using your keyboard, but
how do I aim it?
By default, I think it's the main input. So if you're pressing up, it will aim up. And for weapons, you can have mouse aim, you can have secondary stick aim, you can have like everything.
Sanyo in chat, you made a game in the game jam. The Badger game jam, using Corgi, didn't you? David was saying animations can be so complex. Yes, and that was one of the most basic animation controllers that you're likely to see as well.
Yeah, I'd say the I hesitated at some point when designing the engine to have something easy, like just drag and drop animations into your different abilities, and the engine would decide on the transitions for you. The issue with doing that is that for people that know how the animator works and want to go a bit further, then it would be too limiting. So like for most of these design decisions, I went with the Unity way, whatever that means, but it's what you would find in most studios. Like if you're working with an animator, with an artist, they will expect the ability to fine tweak animations. So being too limiting on that front would be an issue for more advanced people. But if you're new to it, I would say the animator. If you're new to Unity, the animator is definitely one of the trickiest bits to master. It can get quite complex. If you move to the right of the level.
So what are these guys AI telling them to do?
So for example, the one on the left, I think it's moving and then it's switching to a different behavior where it waits and then dashes. Does it make any sense? No, it doesn't. But it's showing different examples of ways to set up your AI brain. It's using a system based on, it's a finite state machine, and it's using a system based on actions and decisions. So you define states and you say, well, I want this character to patrol between two very close points for some reason. And after a while, based on time in the state, based on the proximity to the player, stuff like that. And that's a boss. So, for example, that's an example of how you can create a boss with more complex patterns. It's got different parts you can destroy. If you switch back to your machine gun, you'll be able to fight back with at least a fighting chance.
Fighting chance.
And you just start shooting at it because it's quite.
What have I done now? This is the other thing that most people don't realize is that when you buy Corgi or top-down editor or engine or highway engine? High road engine. Sorry, you've got too many assets to remember. You get a load of stuff for free in there as well.
Yeah. You get the inventory engine for free, which is basically what you're seeing. This thing. It's sort of a basic, simple by design inventory system that you can use to collect items, use them, and so on. And it's got a bit of a visual layer. Oh, that's a bold move. That was the good strategy.
I know.
Because it's quite dumb, and if you move past it, it doesn't turn around. It could, but it doesn't. Oh no, I've made that level too hard. Now seeing someone playtest it, I realize my mistakes.
No. Well, don't try to think that my playing skills equate to anyone else's playing skills. And James is going to bed. Good night, James. Hiko6 is asking, can this work on mobiles?
Absolutely, yeah. If you go to the Corgi Engine's website, you'll find some. There's a showcase page that shows that some games, have been published on the App Store, the Play Store. Some have won Apple Awards. It will run on mobile. The engine itself is quite lightweight. What will impact performance mostly is your visuals. That's usually the bottleneck on mobile. And of course, if you go with, a billion AIs in your level, that's going to be an issue. The engine comes with a bit of optimization options on that front. For example, you have a proximity manager that will let you enable, disable objects as you get close to them.
Like this one.
But mostly it's going to be visuals.
So you've got a dialogue system in here.
Yep. It's very basic. You've seen it in action. That's more or less what it does. It displays information, but it's quite limited. If you want more dialogue, branches and stuff, I would recommend using the dialogue system. It's an asset on the store. It's got an integration for the Corgi engine and top-down. And I only hear really good things about it. I've never used it myself.
It is wonderful, and if you do go over to the YouTube, !YouTube in chat, you can watch me have an interview with the developer as well.
Perfect.
So there you go.
I've only heard really good things about it, so I recommend it to everyone, but I should definitely try it myself at some point. I tend to create my own tools, so I don't...
oh, wow, look, it's a gravity thing.
So that's wind. Technically, it's like applying a force in a certain direction, and when you exit it, you start falling again, and then it kicks in again. If you want to see gravity, there's a gravity demo. No, you can't kill that thing.
Which one's the gravity demo?
It's called Features Gravity. It's in minimal.
Minimal.
There you go. Features Gravity. Doesn't look good visually, but it's got some nice stuff.
But it does what it needs to do.
Yeah, at the above.
Oh, in the exactly where the alphabet would actually expect it to be. You mean?
So if you press play on this one, at the start you'll be controlling all of these characters at once. So if you move left and right a bit,
oh my god,
you can see that everybody moves, and everybody moves in a different gravity. So some of them are upside down, some of them are like 90 degrees to the left, to the right, and you control them all at once. If you move to the right, we're going to leave all these guys behind, and this is a gravity zone. So all of these guys, they had gravity by default. Like they could evolve in an entire level, and they would be in that certain direction. These are gravity zones, so when you enter them, in this case, you're upside down. You could have any direction really for that gravity, but in this case, you're upside down.
Oh, that's so weird.
So, for example, this one it's angled. So if you go there, that's definitely the hardest part of all the all the demos. So you're actually doing good.
I'm trying to.
You'll get there. Yeah, awesome. And now,
so it just messes your mind, doesn't it?
These are gravity points. So these you can just run around like tiny planets, and you can jump from one to the other.
Give me an exclamation mark dialogue in chat. It should be a command, exclamation mark dialogue. Just like there's a command, exclamation mark Corgi as well. And exclamation mark more mountains. Oh my word, this is bizarre. Have I won?
That's the end of the demo. So you've won my respect.
Oh my word. That is there's so much that you can do.
There is a lot. And
Dialogue
I'm
system. Sorry, it was dialogue system for his dialogue system. Do you know what's dialogue is a very hard word to spell.
it's a weird one.
It is a weird one. And then you've got retro. What's retro?
It's basically all of these.
These are like
It's
games that you had when you were a child.
mostly it's just me having fun, and every time I try to, every time I do a new feature, I sort of have to do a demo for it, and instead of just having the regular rectangle on a gray background, I just create new ones.
Did you used to play? Did you used to have an Amiga? Cause you're French, so a lot of Amigas were
It's not
popular in
even an
France.
abstract. I don't know why your camera is not working. There's something wrong here. Should be maybe you've got an error in the console. Should be
I
following.
do have an error in the console. You're right. No objects reference not set in the instance. It's on the character inventory.
Okay. Press play again. Go to tools, more mountains, empty inventory or something like that. Reset. Six from the top. Six from the top. Reset all saved inventories. This one. Yeah. Press play again.
What's chat saying? Camera not tagged as main? Oh no, here we go.
And then move to the right. Yeah, now it's working. Yeah, it's just that at some point you must have saved your inventory state in one of the demos, and it must have been in a state that's not compatible with this specific demo. So sometimes you just force a reset like that.
This is great. So what's next for More Mountains then? Because you've got if someone gives me an exclamation mark More Mountains in chat, please. You've got top-down engine, which I haven't even touched, sniffed yet. You've got obviously Corgi. You've got
High Road.
You've got the Corgi engine plus handcrafted art.
Yep.
But like me, I already have the Corgi engine. So is there an upgrade?
Yeah, there's like an upgrade. It's just was a partnership with Alan Nude, the guy making backgrounds, and years ago now we thought, hey, it would be nice. Some people were using both, so why not make a package with the two, and it just gives you like pre-made backgrounds.
How does that work when it comes to splitting the profits?
You do a contract and you pay your dues.
Do you end up paying more tax than he does?
Yes. Yeah. Because I should have been more careful with how I declared the thing, but it's okay.
That's the thing. One of the questions I get asked a lot is, should I be an asset store? People asking, should I be an asset store seller? What are the risks? And then they go, what is the tax implement? Like, do I have to form a company first, or can I be self-employed?
If you're in France, like More Mountains, the company is based in France, because that's where I was when I started. In France, you sort of have to have a legal status. There's a way to sort of be like an auto, like a one-person company, but it's limiting in many ways. And creating a company is not that hard. You hire an accountant and pay them, and they do the work. I don't know much about the legal aspect of it. I just paid someone, just for my peace of mind, because I'm not really good at filling paperwork and stuff. I mean, I know how to do it. I just don't like to do it. And so it's nice. And yeah, you need some form of thing. You depending on where you live, you're probably going to pay taxes. But it's a good thing. Like it means you're making money.
Oh, that's so true. When you're paying tax, when you're having to pay taxes, it means you're making a profit.
That's a good problem to have.
That is a good problem to have, mate. What are you? So what's next on the horizon then? You've after you got because let's imagine you're pausing 2D
Uh-huh.
plus 3D Infinite Runner. You've got Corgi, so let's say that's paused. You've got the High Road engine that's paused. Nice vibrate is nice vibrations for you. Remember on your website you have a guide to help
Yeah,
work out.
I had to do a table because it was confusing so many people, and for good reason. Because I understand it's gotten a bit weird, but basically there are two types of assets
So
that I
how
do.
do I find the page? Where would I
If you
find
go
it?
to moremountains.com,
Yep.
and once you're on moremountains.com, scroll down. Oh, I should update this, but scroll down more. There you go. Click on that blue one, and if you scroll to the bottom of it,
It's a lot of stuff.
it's a lot of stuff,
That's a lot of stuff.
and it's sort of intertwined, right? So
Oh my god.
that's what I look at when I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm like, I'm adding stuff to that giant wall.
Oh my word. Look at that giant wall. So I bought Corgi around here. So this time I bought Corgi. So there's been lots of changes.
That's when it
Wow.
started becoming good, I would say. Because it became sort of more professional at that point.
Alright, so I own Corgi, which means I've now got MM Tools. What's MM Tools?
MM Tools is like math helpers, Bezier curves, string manipulation. It's a completely random pack of methods and classes to help creating games. Some of it will be, state machine management. Some of it's a toolbox.
Have you seen that Unity have now got the new feature in Unity's on the asset store is that if you're selling Corgi, you basically give people a free asset placeholder for MM Tools and a free asset placeholder for MM Feedbacks or eventually a nice touch, and they can then, when you buy this, download all of these as individual assets.
Is it live?
It's
I heard
live.
about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. They've quite a few people are using it now.
That's gonna make my life way easier.
Yeah. I was about to say that. That will just change your world for you because you don't have to worry about including these into each of these anymore. You just basically when you buy this, you give somebody the voucher, and then they just go and they can upgrade it.
I'll look into that because what happens a lot is that people buy, like, let's say Corgi engine, and then they buy MM feedbacks, and there is some very small value to buying the two. You would get updates as fast as can be, because MM feedbacks, the separate asset and the Corgi engine are not necessarily in sync, and you would be able to import it at one click, right? But aside from that, you're pretty much buying the same thing twice. Hence the table, hence the warnings on the separate pages. But some people, they just don't see these warnings for good reason. I wish Unity made it very obvious. When you buy it, it should say stop right there, but it doesn't. So I have to refund these people.
So now, if you use this thing, you don't have to worry about that.
Excellent. That's excellent news. I heard about it and I didn't anymore for some reason. So I assumed it was another thing that may come someday.
A few people are using it. I read What He's Seen Infinite PBR got it. Somebody we interviewed the other day had it as well. Turn the Game On has got it on his systems as well. ! Turn the Game On! ! Traffic in chat. So yeah.
All right.
So MM feedbacks. I'm assuming that's vibration.
That's my pride and joy.
So what is that?
So it's a system that lets you trigger feedbacks. It can be visual feedback, it can be audio feedback, it can be all sorts of stuff. And there's a demo. If you go to feedbacks.moremountains.com, I've watched that video.
I should have it in the project, though, shouldn't I?
Yeah. So if you go to third party, so there's common demos, full demos.
Corgi engine
sorry.
common.
Corgi engine.
Yep.
Then you fold demos on the left. Fold it.
Yep.
And then there's third party.
Okay. Oh, more mountains of inside the third party.
So yeah. So there you go. And demo. Yep. And the first one.
Lucoids exclamation turn. Why is not turn the game on working? Turn the game. Exclamation mark traffic. There you go. Numpty me. Okay, so should I click play and see something magic happen?
Yes. Hopefully.
Hopefully. Alright. Oh.
Alright. So that's a demo of the Feedbacks library, and on the left you have like a list of stuff.
Oh my god!
So if you press it, it's going to start doing. I'm explaining it really poorly. The way it works is it's a set of pre-made behaviors that let you target pretty much anything in the world, and it lets you stack them and time them and all that without a line of code. And it,
wow.
Earlier I mentioned I work mostly on prototypes, and when doing so, I sort of go back to the same tricks to make the player feel good, right? So that's screen shakes, that's flashing the property of a shader, fading the screen to black, moving something in a certain way, wobbling things. And so all of that, I ended up doing a lot of triggering a particle system, playing the sound. And in Unity, fortunately, most of these, they can be done in a few lines of code, but that adds up when you want to do, let's say, a dash effect. So when you dash, you want probably to emit particles, you want to have a sound, but the sound maybe is a bit delayed. Then you want to have a distortion effect in the background, and you want to maybe trigger haptic feedback. So all of these, I ended up writing again. So at some point I got tired and I wrote my own library. So if you exit play mode, you'll be able to see how it works. On the left, unfold UI, unfold canvas, unfold scroll bar container. Yeah, it's a big list. Scroll bar container, for example, and that's
oh
not
my
right.
Look, so hang on, when I was in play mode,
yeah,
I never bothered scrolling down. Oh my, what the heck?
This one won't work without a device that vibrates. But so it's a very playful library and extremely easy to use. And actually, when you were in Corgi Engine earlier and you were jumping, and every time you touched the ground, there would be a tiny
little shake.
So that's what powers it. So if you click on, let's say, depth of field, if it selects the thing. All right. So on the left, you can see that you have all the buttons, and under each button, you're going to find a feedback.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So these feedbacks, it looks, I try to replicate more or less the look of the post-processing stack. And so, for example, this one, it does depth of field and audio source. So if you click on depth of field, there you go. You're going to see that we're going to be able to animate some properties of depth of field. So we didn't pick the easiest because depth of field has some weird values. But if you
we don't make mistakes.
Select maybe the combo accidents. One on the left in your hierarchy.
On the here.
Yeah.
By the way, thank you, Luco, for the gifted subs, and thank you, Disentangled, for the sub, buddy.
feedback.
Feedback, yeah.
All right. So this one is a bit more advanced and more representative of something you would find in an actual game.
So you got audio source, animation, flicker sound, particle sound, lens distortion, and chromatic aberration. And in chat, got Pixel Shenanigan saying, "This is amazing. I own top-down engine, and I didn't even realize this was included." Likewise,
if you have top-down, that's what powers all the muzzle flashes and everything. And of course, you can just use that part if, let's say, you're making, I don't know, a racing game, so you're not using top-down.
The other thing is that you don't realize you've got the inventory engine and you've got Nice Touch and interface as well. So,
Nice Touch is like
is that for touch screens?
Mobile buttons, mobile swipe zones and joysticks and stuff. And interface is like a collection of ready-made buttons and classes that handle mostly buttons, really, but also checkboxes and switches and stuff that you would find in like an options menu.
Wow, man! So basically, if I want to add one of these, I just add another one.
It's funnier if you don't maximize on play. So that we can press play and see what happens in the game. So press play. All right. So the way it works usually is that you have an event in the game. Here it's the press of a button that is bound to a method on feedbacks that says play all these feedbacks. Right.
How are you getting this little line to go across?
That's many sleepless nights.
Many sleepless nights with C#.
Yeah,
it's bloody lovely.
That's this thing. Really, it's pure fun. I use it in all of my projects. It's quite powerful. I've got some users that actually build the entire game using that. Because technically it's sort of like visual scripting in a way that you could actually do logic with it. I wouldn't recommend it because it will make your life harder. It's going to make debugging extremely hard, but you could. Don't do it. For your own sake, don't do it. But for feedbacks, for stuff that happens in the world and doesn't really impact your gameplay much, like for example, you're flashing the screen, it doesn't impact your collisions, it doesn't impact your core logic. That's a really good tool. And so the nice thing is that most of them you can tweak at runtime. So for example, I don't know, the lens distortion, for example. At the bottom, you can see that we've got a duration. So right now it's 0.75 seconds, but you could change that to 3 seconds. And you could increase so now it's moving the intensity of the lens distortion along that curve that you see here. So you could change the curve as well. You could change the values that the curve is remapped to get all sorts of funny effects. I would say it's an effect you could use when getting punched in the face in an FPS, for example.
Wow. I've just been told I've been missing questions in chat. Will the character also rotate with the changing gravities? So when you're doing the gravity thing, is that something that you select if you want the character to change rotation when he changes gravity, or?
By default, they do. So by default, they will have. Let's say you enter a gravity zone that is upside down, 180 degrees. Or I would say the gravity is pointing up instead of pointing down. By default, the character will have their head upside down. Yeah. It was the case in the demo you were playing. It's just that the character being a rectangle.
You can really tell.
It's super obvious. It's got tiny eyes, but.
Would this work with something like RPG Builder, so I could add shake and vibration to spells and attacks? Yeah, I mean,
yes.
This isn't limited to just use. You use feedbacks in anything. It's not restricted to Corgi. Yeah.
No. It's just that it's so useful, and so powerful as well, that it just made sense to include it in Corgi and Top Down, because these engines I want people to expand on. I'm the happiest when I see people create stuff I hadn't envisioned, and creating new abilities, merging it with something else, combining it with ideas I hadn't thought of before. And my job when working on these things is to try to think of everything. I need to make a jetpack that also works if you can glide. I need to have a jetpack that also works if you can dash. And so I need to think of all these combinations, and that's the I would say the hardest part of that design, compared to actually making a game where you work with a finite set of abilities for your characters, a finite set of features for your game. Creating these engines, you have to think of all the weird combinations people are going to come up with, and so the feedbacks, because they let you trigger all sorts of stuff. They also let you, for example, trigger events. So instantly, if I build that at the core of the Corgi engine, for example, then from any ability, I can say, well, I stopped walking, trigger feedback. And that feedback can in turn trigger dialogue and stuff like that. So for people who like more visual stuff or Unity events, that's a good thing. And I also think
this is lovely, man.
It adds it improves the feel of your game. So it not only looks better, arguably, but it also means that people will understand what's happening in the game much better. And feedback, screen shakes, and stuff, that's not just for show. That's because it makes your game more understandable for your player. And that's usually something you want.
And this is, when people are always like, UX means UI. No, and this is a good example of that.
That's pure user experience right there. If you jump down a platform in Mario and the screen remains completely static and you don't hear a noise and you don't see a particle and you don't see a shake, that's going to feel weird. And not only people will be probably like, oh, the game is a bit rough, it could use a bit of polish. That's usually what they mean behind that. It's,
exactly. And a lot of time people don't even understand what's missing. They just feel like something's missing and they can't articulate it or put their finger on it. And then when you go, compare it, you go, oh yeah, look, it does shake and there is particles.
And the cool thing with MM feedbacks, of course, is that you can just like abilities in the Corgi engine and stuff, you can create your own feedbacks tailored for, I don't know, your audio library of choice. Or you could imagine a feedback that creates dialogues in the dialogue system asset. It's unlimited. It comes with sort of class templates that you can use to get started quickly. Fairly easy to use.
So this is your favorite asset then? Out of all of the assets you've made, you said this is your baby. This is what you're most proud of.
Absolutely, it's good design. I'm very happy. It's good design. It's useful. It's non-invasive. It's costless. Virtually. I mean, it's like $15, but
no, now it's on sale as well, isn't it?
It's on sale, so yeah, But it's even open source. There's a version of it on GitHub if you don't mind.
It's getting stuff from there. What do you mean it's open source?
You can get it for free. It's an older version. It's not up to date. It should be soon, but it's just it's free.
Free?
Or you can thank me and buy it if you prefer.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, tell you what, mate. You need to play about with the Unity Asset Store to add those as separate. As I mentioned, Infinite PPR doing turn the game and doing it on their amazing selection of assets. ! Arcade Racer, ! Traffic in chat. I don't actually have an ! Turn the game on, but those are good enough. I have those links in chat. And the fact that, you know what, if you're making something with the Arcade Racer from Turn the Game On, for example, you could add MM feedbacks to it. So when you collide, the camera shakes.
Mm-hmm.
Could I use feedbacks then with other camera effects and stuff? Like if I've got a camera effect pack.
Oh yeah. You would need to create the feedback. Yes and no. I would say yes. Because it's just it opens a lot of possibilities. So one of the things you can do is, let's say you have a dedicated effect that is not included in there, because right now I support most of the stuff you would find in Unity. So you can control lights, you can control their color, and well, you have the list on the left. So also Cinemachine, you can trigger impulses and stuff. I think it's a really cool camera library. And there's the post-processing stack V2 for SRP, and there's the URP one. But let's say you have your own post-processing stuff. Maybe you got them from Stagger Creations or stuff like that.
Exclamation mark Stagger in chat, by the way. Another person we've had interviewed. You are my 130th, I think, interview. 131. I think you're 131.
All right.
So
that's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people, mate. I'm slowly going insane, I have to say. And like one of the packs that I reviewed on my YouTube, exclamation mark YouTube in chat, was from Bettersoft. I picked this one up in a sale as well.
Okay.
And actually both of their stuff, and they've got loads of effects. To even to make it's like Aha. So that Aha cartoon, and it's so much like Aha. I actually started singing the Aha during the video, and I had to edit it so the music kicks in, and just about when I'm going to go, and then the music cuts, and then it goes to the thing. So as you can see in this little video show, there's broken glass. So that would be a great feedback. Like you trigger a shake particle, and then the broken glass camera effect.
So there are multiple ways you could go about that. The first one would be to create a dedicated feedback for it. So that means created a new class that inherits from feedback, and so all the explanations for that would be in the documentation. But basically, you would write a tiny class, maybe 20 lines of code, probably mostly copying an existing one, because it would be the same logic as the lens distortion one, for example.
Okay.
So that's option one.
So you start by creating a class rather.
You would go create a class.
Okay. So you don't like right click. I'm trying to find like more mountains, feedback, create new feedback. There's nothing like that.
That wouldn't work. But there's an option that may or may not work depending on how that asset you mentioned works. But it's to use some of the feedbacks are tailored to control all the stuff. So select the combo one, for example, at the top.
The feedback.
Fold all of that on the right.
Beep, beep, beep.
All right.
Those are my sound effects, by the way.
They're really good.
Thank you.
If you click on add new feedback at the bottom.
Yeah. Let me show everyone at home. Oh no, that's the wrong screen. Display 2. There you go. So, can people see it? There we go. So if I click on add new feedback,
you get
this list. Like that.
Exactly, and one of them says game object.
Oh yeah.
Pretty sure that's where it is. Float controller. There we go. If you unfold that one, the way it works is it's going to control the float on any object. So as you can see, it has a target float controller right there.
Got timing, so I can.
No. Sorry, it's below. So
yeah, I was just looking. So that is this timing of it, like when it triggers this, or like a cooldown?
It's the timing. It's timing properties that are common to all feedbacks, and that will let you add a delay before it starts, or will let you repeat stuff and so on.
Can I force a delay of when I finish as well? It's like this feedback will delay any further feedbacks.
Yes, you can.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that would be done with if you go to add new feedback.
Yeah.
You can see that there's
Pause.
one section that's pause. So
nice.
there's pause and holding pause. The holding pause will wait for all previous feedbacks to finish before moving, and pause is just it's how could I say, it's executed sequentially and vertically. So, for example, here, if you were to add more feedbacks below that pause, what would happen when you press play is that all of the ones above the pause will play at once with their respective durations. Then, after the duration of the pause that you have in green here, the ones below it would play.
That's lovely.
Regardless of whether the ones above have finished or not.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Then if you use the holding pause, then it will wait for everything, add optionally some extra time, and then execute what's below. So
I can see why this is your baby, and that this is lovely, man.
And that lets you really, the possibilities are limitless. I feel like right now I don't do a really good job at demoing it.
You've done a terrible job. To be honest, you're possibly one of the worst marketing people I've ever seen on the Asset Store. Seriously, because everyone knows about Corgi, and Corgi gets like front page. Corgi was on the front page today. Probably, because Unity said that through every day I'm doing the live dev interviews and interviewing a developer who's going to be on the stream. They were like, we'll promote on the Asset Store to coincide with the stream. We'll see if we can push it. I'm like, that'd be awesome. Thinking there'll be a front page banner. Catch them live on the Messy Coder tonight. Didn't actually work that way. We got a footnote in a blog, but you were on the front page today, and I'm sure it's because you're lucky enough to be on this stream. So you're welcome, buddy.
I think that's why.
That's exactly why. But there is, what needs to be on the front bloody page? MN feedbacks.
Yeah, I know, but I'm gonna rebrand it. I think feedbacks is confusing.
It is. I don't know how you're gonna rename it.
It's a secret, but for now. But I know how I'm gonna rename it, and I'm gonna make more atomic demos and how it can be used in a platform and how it can be used in a racing game and stuff. So with tiny sort of mini games, that's going to be more understandable, I think.
Well, Wizard Don't Code says, I'm going to buy it anyway, but good job on the open source. Thank you.
Thanks for buying it. I hope you'll like it. It's really a fun tool.
Dude, it is nuts. I mean, I did not expect. I thought we were going to be playing about Corgi, a bit of the top down, talk about, there's some of these things are bundled with it. Well, that's nice. End of conversation. This can be used with anything.
Yes. Yeah, and it's virtually bug-free, as far as I know.
Oh, mate. I'm sure you can. Well, I was going to say, I broke Nathaniel's assets, and he was like, I've never seen that broken before. I broke that with him. I broke with Dogmatics, and he's like, that shouldn't happen. It works on mine perfectly, and then loaded up on his computer, and he was sharing, it broke, and he remembered, and he goes, last time I was on, Aqua's was working perfectly, and his own machine had a bug he'd never seen before magically appear when he was showing it to me. I said, it's my palace.
I'm going to rephrase. It's not bug free; it's less bug prone, and much easier for me to fix, because all of these feedbacks, they sort of don't really interact with each other the way that, for example, AI actions and decisions and abilities in Corgi engine they do. So all, for example, the chromatic aberration one, it's got a single job, which is animate over time the value of the chromatic aberration post-processing. Once it works, I ship it. Usually it doesn't really break afterwards. Sometimes people will find weird combinations, but that's quite rare. So out of all of my assets, I would say it's the most stable one.
Are you not seeing editor changes like with Unity 2020? or something like, or like, and how far back
Probably,
do you support?
I would expect 2020 to break everything, but that's business
Does
as
this
usual now.
work in Unity 5?
No. I would say I don't remember which one, but I would say this version of Feedbacks would go back to 2019.3 or something, and Feedbacks as a whole 2018 dot something.
Okay, so everyone keeps on telling me stop trying to support 2017. It's gone. It's the past. It's dead.
Yeah.
Move on. So that makes life a lot easier, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't even support 2018 with the most recent version, just because the changes to the prefabs, there were too many breaking changes at the start of 2019 that made life impossible to. I mean, technically I could, but it's just too much time, and there isn't much demand for it that I can tell.
That's why you're virtually bug free or bugless, because you're managing your scope, which is the sensible way to do it. And that's why you can tell that you're working in the industry in a AAA studio
doing prototypes. Managing the scope is my
exactly.
skill. No, and I mean, it's for my own sanity. It's just I wish I could support versions back to Unity 5. I don't have anything against it. It's just the decisions that Unity made make it hell to try and do it. So I made the conscious choice, and I advertised it, and I displayed clearly it's like the first highlighted questions of my FAQ. Some versions of the Corgi engine, some versions of Feedbacks, and so on, they won't work on all the versions. That's it. Non-negotiable, I would say. It's I'm sorry for the people who are stuck on these older versions, but it's not my. I didn't make these choices that led to this decision.
Don't blame me for the state of the world.
Technically, for me, what it means is that I have a choice of either spending my time fixing the bugs that people report, helping them, and creating new features and shipping them, or I try to make it work everywhere.
I mean,
easy choice.
let's just stick with the process you're doing at the moment, because it's working. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going back.
Yeah, let's stick with that. That's nice. I like that process. let's not break it. All right. So, you know what? I'm going to be sitting here playing about with your feedbacks. I'm also going to create some procedural levels with Dungeon Architect, and my kids are going to sit and tell me what they want the game to do, and they're going to make the game using Corgi and Dungeon Architect.
I've never used it, but I remember a colleague of mine showing me how it worked, and it seemed like an impressive tool.
Oh, mate, you need to watch the VOD. Okay,
I know.
I interviewed him a few days ago.
My holidays. I'm just going to be watching videos now.
It blew my mind. Okay, everyone in chat. You know what we've done so far on the interviews. Do I just keep calling you More Mountains?
I'm Renault.
Renault.
Call me More Mountains. That's just weird.
I know, that's just weird, isn't it? I keep calling you More. So Renault. We've had, on the first day of Christmas, we had Connect, who's up for an award, the Unity 2020 Awards. Exclamation mark awards in chat, please. And he was showing us how to use URP even, okay? And that blew my mind, because it didn't break. We didn't break anything. And he has an amazing collection of assets. Obviously, he's got Beautify. I love you, one of my favorite assets, and he's got them working with URP. Not necessarily with HDRP, no need, but URP, it was working. And he had like a see-through effect as well. So like Assassin's Creed, your NPCs are going behind objects. You can have them going red and stuff and seeing them. Brilliant. And fog, perfect. I mean, it blew my mind. And then the next day, we had Harry Alisavakis.
Oh, I know Harry.
And it was showing us amazing stuff that he was doing with shaders using the standard pipeline. And then he had this pane of glass with rain falling on the pane of glass, and then if you angle the pane of glass, it stops being splashed and then starts streaming down. And if you have it flat, it's raindrops on the glass. It was incredible. As well as he actually had rain as a mesh and not as particles. Then we had Clakesaws, and I'd never seen. I picked up Clakesaws, and we got it. I actually got it from the Humble Bundle. I never played with it yet, and that blew my mind. I made
I
nice
played with it. That's one of the few assets on that list that I know. It's an impressive tool.
It's so
Very
impressive. And then we had Cinti Studios, who again they were up for 2 awards. Mike and Andrew from Cinti showing off their stuff. Then we had Mike the Bard, Twitch streamer, gamer, musician, and then we had Thomas, who's recently made RPG Builder, which was a fantastic. So it's just come out, and immediately it's taken off. And then Adam from Procedural Worlds did the biggest ever reveal that they've ever done for the Gina Pro launch. It was making roads, it was making rivers, it was incredible. And at this point, we're like, every stream, we're like going, the new thing blows our mind. Then we had Jason Booth in, former creative director at Turbine and Harmonix, doing the Guitar Heroes, and he was the Roger Ashwin's cool games. And then we had 210, who makes MLAPI, recently got a job at Unity and was telling us all the secrets, and hopefully didn't get fired when he went back to work the next day. And we had Reign of Darkness, a guy making his own MMO in Unity, having never done networking before, made his own networking library, which was amazing. And then was Dungeon Architect on the same stream. And at that point, we thought it was just Dungeons, because it's called Dungeon Architect. He's had demos for Mario clones. He was creating procedurally generated cities. Anything you could think of, he was generating it. Not just done. It should be called Everything Architect. It was amazing. Wow. And then, do you know what just made our heads explode the next day? We had Kinematic Supon, who makes Scene Fusion. Have you seen Scene Fusion before?
No, I don't even know what it is.
Now, are you sitting down comfortably in your chair? Because you need to be, because you
Very
will fall over. Imagine you're using the editor in Unity and you're setting up your level. And it's a large level and it's quite complex. And you say, Philippe, and he goes, oui, no? Philippe, I need your assistance on this level. It is very large and I'm getting a little bit perplexed. And he goes, do not worry, I will help you. And you go, he comes to sit down next to you, and you go, you fool, what are you doing sitting next to me? I'm going to help you. No, load up your own computer. So he loads up Unity. It could be anywhere in the world. If he's locally, you could even have it on premise, right? Now get this. You both log in to the same scene, editing it at the same time together.
Do you see the other?
You see the other person's person as an avatar.
Okay.
Right?
Oh wow!
You can move objects, delete objects. You know, it's amazing. It was he was chatting to me, and he was making a little polygon person from Cinti move his arms and legs and his head as it was like freaking with me. It was he's had up like to 10 people, and he goes, there's no real limit because the concept of this started from an MMO, like multiplayer game that they were making. So they just turned the Unity editor itself into a multiplayer game.
All right.
Now, do you think that's it? Do you think that's the end of the story with that?
I hope it's not. I hope there's more.
Well, imagine that you're using Unreal, and you say to yourself, you know what? I am bored of using Unreal today. I want to transport my project to Unity. You click the button, it exports your scene with all of the prefabs and everything in it, and you can then import it into Unity, and vice versa. If you go, I've made my scene, because this is how Cinti do it, they're cheeky buggers. They make their scenes in Unity, because they make it quicker than they're used to it, and then they go poop, and they export it out into Unreal using this.
It keeps the materials and stuff?
Everything, man!
Wow.
It converts it.
That's impressive.
And it even has this, like, you can make your own scripts for converting the components as well.
All right.
It was like witchcraft. We were like, this is insane. How is this? How does everyone not know? And it's so cheap. It's like $25 per seat per month. But if you've got two
I know of
users,
companies that would pay much more
well, no,
for that.
for 2 users with up to 2,000 objects per scene, it's free.
What?
I know.
Okay, then I'm maybe bad at marketing, but
At least you know, you might be bad at marketing, but at least you know how to make money.
it's true.
And then we had Callow Creations, who's a Twitch streamer and a Unity asset developer, and also a poet. And then we had Brian Hicks, the former creative director of DayZ, over now Surviving Icarus with Dean Hall. And then yesterday we had Holistic 3D, Dr. Penny DeBill. You know Holistic 3D on Udemy and on YouTube? Oh, mate, one of the best. She's 25 years professor teaching development, coding, maths. She has 85,000 students on her Unity Udemy courses alone.
Wow.
Amazing. And then today we had Nathaniel, Dogmatic, and now yourself. And I was like, you know what? We're going to be playing about with Corgi, top-down editor. It's going to be awesome. And I'm leaving this chat with you so excited about feedbacks that my head is processing all of the add-ons and all of the extra feedbacks I could be creating now in my head. Seriously, it's amazing.
I see like Rayfire tomorrow.
And
this one I know, and amazing asset. And typically you could create a feedback that controls these explosions, and you could probably do that without code, because some of the feedbacks, they let you sort of trigger events or control other behaviors, floats or colors or stuff. So possibly out of the box, you could do some fun stuff.
Oh man, do you know what?
That's why it's such a cool.
It is such a cool thing, man. It is. Look, exclamation mark, more mountains in chat with an S at the end of it. If you don't already have feedbacks, okay, save your
Possibly
money.
The best kept secret of the assets.
Yeah, don't buy it. My advice to you now is, if you don't have feedbacks, do not buy it, because normally it's 26 euros 80 cents, 13.40. Instead, if you don't have Corgi and top down, buy one of these two, probably Corgi, because you're going to get feedbacks, and you're also going to get inventory engine and nice touch as well. So you add those numbers up plus that one. It doesn't make any sense for you to buy those. Buy Corgi, and you get those for free. So that's my advice. You know, Renaud doesn't want to hear that. He wants to hear me saying buy all of them separately.
That's very bad advice, but that's actually a good thing to do. Yeah, you should do that.
Wow. So, am I late with Rayfire? Luco, tomorrow is going to be Neo FPS, Yonderlaut Games, Chris. We don't have the developer of Rayfire on the stream with us because he's coming down probably in January or February. He'll be live on the stream. But tomorrow we'll be with Chris from Neo FPS, Yonderlaut Games, and we'll be integrating Rayfire live with Neo FPS. Why not top-down missing? I said either the top-down engine or Corgi, but actually it's all and the high road engine. You get where did I lost your page on your website? Where did it go? If I go back to I lost your page. I had it.
It would be more.com.
If I go, here it is. No, that's not it. Where are you, you cheeky?
There's the link.
Did I? Maybe I closed the window because I got so excited. I got so excited that I just my fingers exploded all over the place. Right. So if I go back to your page, Corgi, you get them, except for nice vibrations. So nice vibration is for actually vibrating your device.
Exactly. It triggers haptic feedback on iOS and Android, and also compatible with Rumble and Gamepad.
I need to get that for my kids then, because they want me to make games on the consoles. It's
a very hard asset to demo because it's vibration, so you can't really explain it unless you have it in your hand.
You know what you could say to them is like, trust me, it's vibrating.
I ended up creating a setup where I use a glass on top of a Yeti microphone, and I put the phone on top of that so that it resonates and you can sort of hear the vibrations. But there's a demo available on the App Store and Play Store if you want to give it a try on your device.
Brilliant. High-rate engine, you don't get feedbacks or inventory yet, so it's
until the next update.
Okay. And then by then you'd probably be getting the
Yes.
third-party little link, the token asset to be able to download the full version. So, chat are telling me they would rather get top-down engine than Corgi. Why would you rather get the top-down? Because you're doing I think there's more people doing top-down, maybe isometric games. I think is the Corgi engine limited to like your platformer, fun kids, and whereas top-down, there's a lot more scope. You can actually have a darker, more adult game, I suppose.
I mean, technically, I would say Hollow Knight is pretty dark. It's really the difference between the two. They have stuff in common. Like they will share the same logic for AI, the same logic for even how characters are made. You'll find the same architecture. So the architecture is similar, but the classes themselves, they are tailored for really different games. The Corgi engine will have precise and tight collisions. It's aimed at creating games like Celeste or any sort of good platformer. While top down, it's more aimed for games like Hotline Miami, Link's Awakening, or I don't know, Helldivers. So games that are all have in common a top-down perspective. But you can do Bomberman. You can do that's Bomberman. You can do grid-based games. You can do all sorts of things that you wouldn't be able to do with the Corgi engine.
So you're not restricted to only using your AI though. You can do your own AI. Use any AI.
Yeah. Yes, and there are even assets that are available on the store if you prefer a more visual scripting approach. There's a guy called Mario Secchi. That's the first time I actually pronounce his name, so I hope I'm doing it right. But he created like an extra layer that connects with another asset. I forgot the name. Some sort of enabler for visual programming. Really cool.
Awesome.
I should get rid of that trailer. It's not reflective of the quality of the asset these days. But
see, that's the thing, because you keep on developing and updating it so much.
I actually created a new one like 2 weeks ago for Unity, and they didn't even use it. I think so. I should just use it myself.
Yeah.
Before the sale, they contacted me and said, we need a trailer by tomorrow. I was like, oh wow.
And then they didn't even use it.
And not that I know of.
That sounds
maybe
familiar.
They used it in some country, maybe China. I don't know.
Probably Japan, China, Asia. The Asia side.
The asset store used to be the same for everyone, and you would go to the homepage and everybody would see the same. But these days, it's much more tailored per user. So
they're getting better at marketing.
Yeah.
You're not the only one.
No, but it makes sense for them to do that. But now these days, I have no idea what. I've given up really on analytics and stuff like that. It's just it's not like I was acting on it really. I was just looking at the numbers and like, oh wow. These days I'm like that.
Spend your time making this stuff. Don't worry about the analytics. Exactly.
That's what I've been doing really. And my job, I've had roles where knowing about marketing and SEO and stuff like that was critical. I know how to do it. This is mostly a hobby, so I'm
exactly the same way. It's like people are going to me, why don't you have your own website? And I've been making websites for the last 20 years. I don't want to make websites anymore. It's even I used to just if I'll be sitting in front of a computer and I was bored, I would just design a website and build it. Build my own framework or something just for something to do. And then I had kids. And after you have kids, which
that's it. That's in the story.
Exactly. And then you're basically like, no, I've got 5 minutes. I'm going to sit down. What shall I do? Sleep or cry?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I can relate.
So yeah, Messy Coder doesn't have his own fancy website. I don't look at my analytics, all the marketing stuff that I learned for years working, having to do marketing and stuff. Don't do any of that. But if it was somebody else, if it's my day job, then yeah, I do all of that kind of stuff. But when it's your own, you're like, you know what? No, I'm going to focus on the part that gives me joy, and I have fun. But otherwise, your hobby turns into a job, and that's the dangerous part.
I've had people, ask me, but you don't know that asset, you don't know that, potential competitor and stuff. No, I don't. Why does it matter? Like I focus on what I think people will appreciate. I listen to suggestions. There's a Discord where people, suggest stuff, and that's all good. But mostly I focus on quality, and I feel like it's enough. Like at the few times where I looked at analytics instead of stuff, I was like, it's just a waste of time compared to actually fixing bugs, actually creating something worth using. So
putting the links into chat. These are the links to More Mountains website, the More Mountains Discord, and the More Mountains YouTube. And the more you say it, the more mountains we get. And you know what? I'm just going to show at the top. If you look at the top, Renaud, I've got my own More Mountains too, and they're not bad. Yeah, do you like those? They shake.
I love them.
Okay.
They're wobbly mountains.
They are wobbly mountains. You know what? You know what you need on wobbly mountains? Some feedbacks. Renaud, thank you so much for coming in. I'm sorry I kept you late. I kept you longer than I thought I would, but it's entirely your own fault. Because of feedback, it's your fault, and you're the one to take the blame, not me.
I had a really good time.
I'm glad. Really nice. Are you going to come back next year?
I would love to. Yeah.
Well, I'd love to have you on. You know what? Before you come back, I'm going to make some games with the top down and with the Corgi. I mean,
all right.
It's embarrassing that I've owned Corgi now for like 3 years, and today was the first time I've actually done anything with it.
I think with all the sales, that I think it's a common pattern.
Well, because the sales are always coming round, and you think to yourself, you know what, I'm going to buy it because I don't know if it will be on a 40% or a 30% next time. So if you see it on a 50, or even if I see anything on a 70 and it's something I looked at before, I'm like, okay, I'm buying it, because they rarely
I would say
do the same.
If you see it at 70, because that's I may be breaking an NDA, but if you see it at 70, buy it.
No, it's not breaking an NDA. It's basically, if you see it as a 70,
it doesn't really go above.
It never goes above, and it rarely happens the same for the same asset. I've seen it a couple of times, on the same asset, but that was like a specific event. So yeah, 70%, get it, and it's 50% at the moment. And to be honest, let's be honest with ourselves, everyone in chat. It's $26.80 for either top down or Corgi, and you're getting 1, 2, 3 assets included for free as well. So immediately you're getting your money back, and also you saw how easy it was to use. And do you know what? I would buy either of these two just to get the feedbacks. Because
that's how I should market it.
That's the thing. Look, seriously, it's that good. I would buy. I'm so glad I own Corgi because I've got feedbacks. That's how I feel right now.
It was meant as a gift initially. I was like, initially there was no integration into Corgi. It was just I dumped the files there, and I was like, well, you're getting Corgi engine, and as a bonus you get this thing. Then I merged them, and now the Corgi engine uses feedbacks actively. Initially it was an open source library. It was just there for people to take, because I was like, man, that's good design. That's good design, and more people should use it.
Well,
every time I see people on Twitter or what saying, oh, this screen shakes thanks to feedbacks. I'm like, yes.
Really? Oh, wow. Well, Renaud, thanks again, mate. I can't wait to have you back on in 2021 when we're all COVID-free. That it's a memory in the past, and we're going to be having a good time playing about with some new assets, new games, and new fun. And we've made a new friend tonight. Everyone in chat, say hello to your new friend Renaud from More Mountains! More Mountains in chat. Get them on now when you can on sale. And there's a link also in the chat to their Discord. Join his Discord because, as you can see, is a wonderful person, and the fact that he gave feedbacks away for free, open source as well, then it definitely means that he cares about the community. So Renaud, Merry Christmas, buddy.
Yeah, you too. Thanks again for having me. It was really cool.
But au revoir.
Au revoir.
If you want to see more of my crazy videos, click on the left side of your screen now, and down below there's that big juicy subscribe button, and right next to it is the magic bell that if you click it, it will tell you if I've got a new video coming out. Till next time.